Welcome back to Keys Prop Hunt. On today, we'll be looking for some props that we can hit on. Let's get into it. So firstly here, we're filtered to the left-hand side, looking at who struggles with left-handed batters. Before I get started, I want to say we hit a couple home runs yesterday, 6 of them. I want to say Hernandez, Alvarez, Vargas, De La Cruz, Akamamoto, and Devers went yard. So that was yesterday. Let's do it again today. So firstly here, I'll look at Johnson versus Minnesota. They have been pretty good against right-handed pitching. Clemens Sotos yesterday on the homer, but outside of him, everybody from that left-hand side did get a hit. You got Johnson here, 40% splitter, 31% cutter. The sinker, 24%, is getting some whiff on the splitter, so I will look at that. Clemens has a 20% K, Larnach 28%. The whiff isn't great there for Larnach at all, 23% for Clemens. Does have 2 home runs. Lee looks pretty good here too, 20% whiff. Small sample size for Gray, and then the rest don't look too good at all. And then a little bit of whiff on this cutter, so I'll look here. Lee looks the best here, 571, 0% K, 12% whiff. Caratini looks good. He was out yesterday, but he should be back today. Larnach looks good here too, 385, 13% whiff. Clemens does not look good here at all. Does have some barrel though, 18% on 11 events. So everyone outside of Clemens on this cutter does look pretty good. And then we'll look at this sinker, in which this is where he's getting trouble. So Clemens looks pretty good here, 9% K, 20% whiff. No real barrel though, 48% sweet spot. Larnach looks pretty good here, 267, 11% barrel, 15% whiff. Let's look last 30. My bad, last 30. So Clemens 375, Larnach 300. The rest of them don't look good, but they're also not king, so I do like that. So Clemens does look pretty good here for a hit. Caratini will be smaller sample size. Caratini will be back today, I think so, maybe. Given that it is a righty, I'm not sure. Jeffers came back, so that's why he was out yesterday. So I'm unsure of what their plan is to do with that. Maybe DH him. Larnach 278. Lee looks pretty good there too. I want to say Clemens, double back for a homer. The pitch that he is struggling with, Larnach did have some barrel there, 11% in the last 30. Let's see when that was. So it was the 28th of June that he had that. Okay. Let's look last year against the sinker, see bigger sample size. So Clemens, 4 home runs last year against it. You do see Lee here too, 9.7% barrel with 1 home run. So he's not bad here either. They all honestly look good again to get a hit on today. So I'll say Clemens, Caratini looks good, Lee looks good, Larnach looks good leading off there too. I like all of those for a hit, and then I'm going to say I'd go Clemens to go yard, and then Larnach to go yard there. Then it did say he was giving up some barrels to the right-hand side, so I'll look at this shortly. Jeffers did just come back, and he was having a great year before he went out. Is getting whiffs a decent amount to the right-hand side. Jeffers, which is 26% with 41% for Lewis. He is getting barreled up against this cutter and this sweeper though. So 14% for Jeffers. Long shot Jeffers just coming back. Possibly him. He's batting number 2 to go yard there against Johnson. I believe the Angels bullpen is cooked too, so should be in a good spot there. Also from the left-hand side, let's look at Assad. The Cubs. So very low ground ball, fly ball against lefties. 8 home runs, 9% barrel as well. So he's getting some whiff on this changeup. De La Cruz looks pretty good there. They all look pretty good as far as their K. The whiff doesn't look good for De La Cruz. Looks pretty good for Blade there. Not Blade, but Low there. Blade has a decent whiff there too. 13% barrel for Low, 8% for Blade and De La Cruz. So he's not necessarily giving up barrel to his four-seamer, but they are hitting it out. In which Bidet looks the best there, and then De La Cruz 19% barrel, only 7.5 for Low. The last 30, really nothing for any of them. You got 1 home run for Frito. And then let's look at this sinker. Not missing bats here at all. Last 30, no barrel for any of them. And then 10% barrel and 1 home run on the year for Low. Sure I ain't missing anything. Okay. Does have a good sweet spot there on that sinker too. Alright, this cutter's really getting hit. So Low looks pretty good on the year, 27% barrel. Let's look last 30. So Bidet actually hit it in the last 30 and a home run. Low's kind of like dropped off. Still got some sweet spots. Small, very small sample size though. I will say these underlying pitches, Low doesn't look bad for the year. He hasn't done it lately though. But Blade had been on a cold streak too. But he still has a sweet spot, 316 batting average. Possibly Low, long shot home run there. Blade went yard yesterday. Outside of that, and I believe he did maybe a couple days prior, he had been pretty bad, but he might be turning around. So Blade could be in play there too for a homer. And then I'll go to the other side because I plan on attacking Lodolo anyway from the right-hand side. So he gets whiffs on this curveball. So I'll look there first. Really not a huge sample size here. Bregman's K'ing on it. Warner's not K'ing on it at all. Neither is Kelly. And then last year, Kelly looked pretty good too. Hap, Horner, same names. Suzuki, 26% K on that. So that's that. This sinker is really getting hit. About all of them look green here. Bregman looks good. Horner looks good. Kelly, small sample size, looks good. Suzuki, 385. You do got the 30% K there. And then 273 for Swanson. A homer for Swanson and Horner against this. Last 30 is Bregman. They haven't really seen lefties that much as of late. See anything last year. So Swanson looked pretty good on it last year. Suzuki has some barrel there too. 26% on 23 events, so that looks pretty good. And then this four-seamer, he's giving up homers too. So Suzuki and Swanson look pretty good there. Let's look as of late. So Swanson, 2 home runs in the last 30. Okay, Suzuki 1, no barrel, 62% sweet spot. Not bad. I want to say Suzuki to go yard there, but Swanson's been pretty hot too. 11% barrel against this changeup. Small sample size. Yeah, I want to say Suzuki to go yard here, and then Swanson behind him to go yard. Swanson's more so like recency, um, that I like. And this year he has 4 to Suzuki's 3. Suzuki has the highest weighted OBA and batting average across the pitch pitch mix. Sorry. Um, and they're about dead even here. You do got to deal with the K's, but I'm more so looking to go yard here than a hit play. Yeah, I'll roll with that. Okay, I think that may be it from the left-hand side. McCullers doesn't look too good here. Rice has started to hit though. I don't think I noticed this one. He does struggle more so power-wise with the right-hand side, but there's no right-hand bats in that Yankees lineup that I'm looking to get to. Um, so really no whiff stuff out of any of these pitches. Um, the most damage is being done to this changeup, this curveball, and then fastball is about mid there. Top three. I'll look at this curveball since it's um about top four pitch wise on usage. So 250 for Rice here, 3 home runs. So when he makes contact, he is doing damage. You have to deal with the K's with him. Nothing really there. Dominguez went yard yesterday, I'm pretty sure. He's looked pretty good since coming up. Rice looks pretty yeah, he always looks good against a four-seamer. I've been over that a couple times. Outside of that, it looks very bleak on that four-seamer. Change up. They about all look good on this change up. Chisholm went yard yesterday too. I think Rice did and Wells did. Dominguez might have went yard the day before. Maybe misremembering that. Okay, this sinker. Chisholm looks really good there. Um, they have the bats to get to McCullers. Let me take the top. This slider's really not getting touched. Let's go last 30. Yeah, that's the thought. Probably just go Rice here, hit, home run, and then leave the Yankees alone. They've been horrible. And then, yeah, I think that may be it from the left-hand side. Let me look here. Power-wise, we can go barrel real quick. Uh, um, oh, Bybee. Definitely attacking him from the left-hand side. Bot, Ryan, Cameron, Vitor, Rocker, Chandler. Assad, we already talked about. McCullers and Johnson, we already talked about too. Okay, let's look at Bobby. So, more so giving a batting average to righties. However, the power is on the left-hand side, 13% barrel. Swing and miss stuff is this cutter, but it's also getting barreled, as is the curveball, as is the four-seamer. Want to more so lean this four-seamer because that's the one that he's not really missing bats on, and it's getting hit. So this full season wise, kind of looks pretty good there. 10% barrel, small sample size for him. I'm not sure if he's a rookie or not. I know that he's been hitting though. I'm pretty sure. So let's look last 30 against this four-seamer. So 3 home runs there for Mac. 2 for Stowers. Stowers, as I mentioned, is always like the left-hander that I'm looking for from this Miami lineup. It doesn't look like too good. Like he's making, so he just homered off of it on the third. The exit velocity is definitely there. Sheesh. About 7 straight over 100 plus miles per hour off the bat. Okay. That's the four-seamer. Let's look at these other ones that he's. This is the curveball. He is getting whiffs on this though. You see Stowers is K'ing on that quite a bit. Does have a barrel. Not a sample size for Khan in there. When Stowers does make contact, it's pretty good. And look last year. So 2 home runs last year, 33% barrel, so 3 barrels on 9 events. And then this cutter, about his whole arsenal is getting hit against the left-hand side. 22% barrel here against this cutter. So those 2 were in the last 30 against this cutter. I want to say Stowers here. Normally sits against lefties. They did have him in the lineup against Messick yesterday. So maybe the trust is growing there. 5 home runs in the last 30 against this pitch mix. Yeah, I'll say Stowers there against Bibee. And then from the right-hand side, this is where he's giving up an average. So the changeup, curveball, and cutter, he's getting whiffs again. I will look at this changeup to see how they are. So it doesn't look too good there. That's last 30, small sample size. So it doesn't look good against his changeup at all. So if he can get to that, but he's barely throwing this. I didn't even see that 5%. But it doesn't look good against that changeup, I will say, on their end. All right, let's look at this curveball. Hold on, I'm looking at weighted OBA. My bad. All right, let me look at what he's actually throwing. So this cutter, he's getting whiffs on. So Lopez 222, 11% K, 0%, I mean 10% for Hernandez, a barrel there. Not bad. And then out of his top 3, that's the only one really getting whiffs. The sinker's not getting hit necessarily, but he's not missing bats. So he's keeping it on the ground more than likely. But one of those can do for a hit. So honestly, Lopez looks pretty good here. Hernandez doesn't look bad here at all either. .21% K for Hernandez there. He is more so a power bat. So I lean Lopez more so for a hit here. Cleveland's bullpen is in a situation too. So that's the cutter, and then the four-seamer. I'll look for that. So Lopez 393 looks really good there. Not so much for Hernandez. Yeah, I like Lopez here for a hit, to be honest. I think Cleveland ended up winning that game yesterday too. All right, left-hand side. LA, I mean, they don't really have no left-hand bats. I'm trying to get it to. Fott, you got your chalk play, Otani, Freeman, Muncy, that can get to him. Seattle sucks right now. Really don't care to go lefty on lefty there with Liberatore, but Olsen can hit left-handing pitching. Rocker, Alvarez is about the only lefty there that's worth something in Houston. I think that's about it. Okay, let's go to the right-hand side, go to weighted OBA. So Mal, Freeland, Johnson again, who I talked about, McCollus, who I talked about, Liberatore, Lodolo. We talked about Lodolo. Then a couple more here. Let's look at Mal versus Colorado. 10% barrel to righties to the batting average is almost like 100 points better. It is exactly 100 points better than lefty. So really struggling. Reverse platoon here. Using the four seamer for the most part. Does get whiffs on this splitter. Small sample sizes here. However, Goodman is king with that. And was king last year. 50% whiff. He's more so a power guy, so I'm not even looking for him to not K. Four seamer's really not missing bats on, and that's trouble. Karros looks pretty good here. 5 home runs too. Goodman has 5 home runs. Again, you have to deal with the Ks with him. 30% with 4% for Karros, so I do like that for him. The last 3,500 for Karros, very low with 6%, almost 7% essentially. 41% barrel for Karros. 50% sweet spot too, so I do love that. Should be batting in the top 3. I will look at this slider. So some barrel there for Goodman too, so he can hit these top 2 pitches. Tovar, Karros 214, so about mid for him. Let's look at the whiff. 48% whiff. Don't love that. They all are whiffing on that slider. 1 barrel in the last 30 for Karros. And then a home run. Nothing for Goodman there. I like Karros for a hit. I will say, also like him for a home run. Chalk play is to go with Goodman for a homer. So he's going to be priced like that, in which he does look good against his cutter too. Karros does not look good against his cutter, but he's barely throwing this. But he's not Kang either. So I like Karros for a hit here. He should be batting number 2, I believe. Goodman is number 3 or 4 in that lineup. So if he's I think Goodman's number 3. So Karros has that protection behind him. You're not gonna walk him to get to Goodman. So I like Karros for a hit. Chalk play here is Goodman for a homer. He does have 13 on the year, 15% barrel. As of late, Karros looks really good. So if you want to get away from the chalk play with Goodman, 19% barrel for Karros, 5 home runs in the last 30. So he looks pretty good there for a homer. And then let's stay in that game because I plan on looking at Freeland anyway. Freeland. 15 homers to the right-hand side. 11% barrel, almost 12% there. Is missing bats with this knuckle curve, so no data there. Oh, let me look full season. You probably haven't seen it though, I'd assume. Let's see last year. Last year, really nothing. Ramos and Adams saw it a couple times. 20% K for Ramos, 14% whiff, 25% whiff for Adams. So this year, so this cutter's getting hit. The four seamer's really getting hit. That's what he's having trouble with. Ramos, 600 there. Adams has 2 home runs, about 16% barrel. Not a huge sample size here. Ramos did just get back though. I do love this sweet spot, 87% there. Let's look last year. So 8 home runs last year against this lefty four seam fastball for Adams. 2 for Ramos, 2 for Schmidt. Mm-mm. Okay, and then this cutter, nothing really here at all. And then this change up, really nothing either. But Schmidt looks the best there. Some barrel for Adams and Ramos. Um, let's see. So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Ramos. Let me look. Where is this K coming? That's kind of tough. I was gonna say Ramos looks good there for a hit, but he's like kind of like in the middle of where like I would like him for a home run, and then the K's not good enough, and the whiff is not good enough for a hit play. Um, the sweet spot is there. I'll more so lean Ramos to go yard than hit. Hit wise, I'd say probably Schmidt there. 291 batting average. The whiff 21%, K 9%. So not bad at all. He just didn't really look good against that four seamer. But these the knuckle curve, well not knuckle curve, but cutter and changeup looks pretty good there. So I'll say Schmidt to get a hit and then Ramos at the top of that lineup to go yard. He is just getting back though. Adams looks the best last year against his four seamer. If you want to go him too, because I know Ramos is probably gonna be chalk price, so Adams should be like anywhere from like 350 to probably 400 maybe. Okay, right hand side. As I said, Yankees don't have a righty. Kind of cool on Atlanta's bats. Um, you got Alves, Dubon. Riley hasn't been good, so yeah, low-key cool on that. Right hand side. That may be it from the right hand side. Let's see. I'll look into it. Let's go barrel. So Perez looks like he's giving up barrel to righties, but Cleveland doesn't have righties. You got Hoskins. That's about it. Fry's probably not going to be in a lineup against a righty. Bueller gives up barrels to righties. He does give up power to righties, though. So Kamamoto might be in play here again. He's about. Then you got Springer, too. Swing and strike. He's not missing bats on this four-seamer, and it's getting barreled. So that's what we took a Kamamoto for against Sears yesterday. 20% barrel on 55 events. Loves the four-seamer. Yeah, chalk play here is to go on Kamamoto again. Bueller has been bad these last two starts. Um, let's look at this cutter. So Springer looks pretty good there. I didn't see what Springer's doing against this four-seamer. 2 home runs, really no barrel. Kamamoto, nothing there against that cutter. Sinker, he's really not giving anything up. I don't expect them to lift that sinker. Slider, let's see if anything. Kamamoto, 2 home runs there. So does Springer, though. They did move Springer back in the lineup, I will say. Um, a home run the last 30 for both of them. If you don't want to go a Kamamoto back-to-back, Springer is definitely making a good case here. Nothing against this sweeper for him, though. He's barely using that. Let's look at this four-seamer. The cutter, he's not missing bats on. Yeah, let's just look at those. He hasn't given up a homer to this cutter yet, but you should at 7.3 swing and strike. Um, and it's really just his fastball, like honestly, that's getting hit consistently. The rest of the stuff, the ISO there. So it's, yeah, it's really a Kawamoto. The underlying stuff, the sweet spot doesn't look good though. The underlying stuff like the cutter, which is getting a bunch of usage. I don't, was it the sinker too? Oh, he's hitting the sinker too. Um, and Springer doesn't look good against that one. He just looks good against his cutter. He could look good against his slider. So the underlying stuff, the cutter and the slider, Springer looks decent on 4 home runs. Akamoto still some home runs there. Is hitting the 4-seamer and the sinker. So 14 home runs against those 4 pitches. He's more so struggling with this 4-seamer, which Akamoto is hitting. So I would say Akamoto to go yard here. If you don't want to go him back to back, I would say underlying stuff. Springer looks good against, and he has 2 home runs against that 4-seamer too. So it's not like he hasn't hit that. So that's Bueller, Bradish, Cool on Kansas City, Witt maybe. That's about it there. Caminero, Gilbert. I feel like Gilbert shows today. Seattle needs a win bad, and he's supposed to be their ace, to be honest. Jags versus Seattle. More so, like he has been giving up barrel though. Jags for sure. Let's look into it real quick. This sweeper, he's getting barrel, but he is getting whips on the 4-seamer. He's not missing bats, and he's getting barreled on. So 2 home runs for a Rosarina there. That's more so like a theory like play. He's back in Tampa Bay. Anything against a sweeper for him? Not bad. Maybe a Rosarina to go yard. Jax has been giving up barrels. He's been good, but he's been giving up hard contact for sure. And each of these pitches that he's been giving up barrel and has some ISO on, a Rosarina does not look bad. The average I'm not worried about. I'm looking at the barrel and the homer. Possibly a Rosarina go yard there. Who did they face yesterday? Martinez? I think Young went yard after selling us the day before. Just crazy. Left hand side, probably be Canzone here. Yeah, Canzone and Rally. I will look at it real quick. So all his pitches that he's getting barreled on, he is missing bats on. He isn't on the sinker though. Rally looks good there. He hasn't looked good all year though. 27% barrel for Rally here. I kind of want to stay away. I kind of want to stay away from the bats. Other than that, other than me wanting like a Rosarina to go yard against his former team, I'm really cool in Seattle's bats. They kind of just aren't good right now. Um, Sanchez has been getting barrel for sure, and you got Kansas City got to him last week. I don't know if Detroit does though. Yeah, outside of that, I may be okay today. Oh, I want to look into this one because Joe Ryan I think is starting the All-Star game. which is like the beginning of next week. So he shouldn't pitch into this game long. And I don't know necessarily who Minnesota brings in, but Trout has looked good this whole year, and he just got back. So I want to look into him real quick. So 5 home runs against this four-seamer. Neto has been hitting for power too. So that four-seamer, he's getting barrel, but he is missing bats on it. 18% whiff for Trout, 21% for Neto, 17% for Oppie. And this sweeper home run there. Ryan has looked good this year. Like this is more so like a long shot, just because I feel like he's not going to be in this game long. But if he's going to give something up early, 16% whiff there for Trout. That looks pretty good. 50% barrel on 10 events, so 5 barrels there. 13% for Neto. The whiff isn't good there though. And then he's throwing this sinker a little bit. He's not missing bats on it. 3 home runs there for Neto. 19% whiff. 12% for Trout. I'll say long shot here, Trout to go yard. Just because he's looked good recently. And I don't think Ryan's going to be in there long at all. Then outside of that, I may be good. Lambert doesn't look too good there. Let's look at him real quick. Right-hand side. So Langford's always in play for a homer. I think him and Berger did yesterday, though. 21% barrel, almost 22% on this four-seamer. So Jung looks pretty good there, 16% barrel. Berger has some barrel there, too. Last 30-wise, you got Langford with a home run, Berger with a home run. Jung, 18% barrel in 11 events. And then this slider, he gives up some barrel there too. It's not really missing bats with that sinker. 23% for Langford there. 7% for Berger. And then sinker-wise, Berger, 5 home runs there. Then yeah, that's 25%. No, I'm cool on that one. I will say normally power wise from the right hand side on the Rangers, I'm looking at Langford and Berger. But if you want to get away from those two that just homered yesterday, I say possibly Jung here. Honestly. But Langford looks real good. They both Langford and Berger look real good in the last 30. Only 8% for Jung. But he's in the top of that lineup between those two. So if you're trying to pitch around them, you could throw him something to hit. I think I'm gonna call it on that note. I think there's anything else that I'm trying to look at. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you ever have any questions with anything that I'm covering or anything on the platform, please let me know. Hope you guys have a great day. See you guys.